My man, we made it. We made it. Hey, no lie, we both took a trip to Guitar Center, so all this equipment you're seeing, this is fresh. We got it all set up. Right on. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to the REI Allies first podcast here, live from downtown.
Yeah. Welcome to my home. That's first and foremost. I think it's it's an honor to have you here, bro. It's an honor to meet you too, dude. It's been a crazy journey. I mean, me and Rich met at a clutch time, to be honest, because we were both leaving, whatever we were doing to get on board, and we'll talk more about that for sure. But let's kick it off, man.
Let's do it. And so kind of the purpose of the podcast is we're going to be interviewing and kind of talking to top entrepreneurs in real estate and other kind of related fields. We just want to share people's journeys to inspire people, help elevate people. We're going to do some tactical stuff too, like sales and business stuff that's working for us. But the goal is really just to connect everybody, elevate and inspire.
Absolutely.
Because everybody sees kind of like the results of everything, but they don't really hear like the journey.
Right.
So a lot of people, when they're getting started, it's easy to get discouraged because you're like, oh man, like where's the results at? But they don't realize like everything that goes into that.
Absolutely. It's the building blocks to your foundation. And us as we're going through our journey and as we are growing, and not just in business, but also as people, as sons and fathers, and you're a father, and I'm not a father yet, but as the people around us, they deserve the best version of us. And as we continue to seek that, I think it's very powerful for someone who's our age, who's already in the process or just starting out, can really get a scope of what life is like on this side, right? Grass may not be greener for you, but there's definitely, we're a testament to that, because both of our stories kind of, now I think you have a phenomenal story, and I've been, through quite a bit growing up, but here we are, and we're living the fucking dream, and I live in a high rise. I'm blessed. I'm, very grateful to have people like you in my life, and everybody on the live supporting, and everybody that's watching and showing love. That's what fuels me, and that's what fuels you. And that's why our paths have aligned. And here we are now. And I'm really excited to what's coming, and we want to bring everybody along through this journey. And I think that's what I love most about Rich, is that he's very selfless, and he wants to bring everybody along the ride with him and see everybody prosper and win. So I love that. And yeah, let's kick it off, guys. So we are REI Allies, and our main objective, like we said, is to bring a culture to the space that we are all familiar with, which is, whether it's business or real estate or self-development, we all want to do it, and we all want to, commingle in it. So we want to create a safe space for everybody to come and collaborate. So my name is Ahmad Soughar. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Arizona. I am a business owner and a real estate investor. And I'd love to share my story with you guys, and I'll let Rich introduce himself as well.
Nice. Yeah, guys. Rich Wonders, Phoenix AZ native. I am a nationwide wholesaler. I'm a acquisitions trainer.
One of the best.
Thank you.
One of the best.
And I'm just a constant student of life. I'm big into personal development. I'm big into living your best life, having great experiences, connecting with people. And that's how me and you came together, man. We're on
Absolutely.
the same wavelength.
Absolutely.
So maybe if you can just start things off by just kind of like just telling us a little bit about your journey. Like you've got you have some wild stories. We'll start there, right?
Yeah.
You've got a very unique like childhood and upbringing. Like why don't you tell the people a little bit about where you came from, man?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And it everything I'm going to say, I would not change whatsoever. I think it molded me to the person that I am today, because,
right.
You're not subject to your environment. You can grow out of it, but you can take what you learned from it and use it to your power and your advantage. And so a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Baghdad, Iraq. In 1997, I was born. Yeah, I'm young. I'm 24. I'm 24 years old, and I was born in a beautiful country that has just always been flourishing with war. and it's been used as a battlefield for many, many centuries since the beginning of time, when civilization and mankind first started building and growing. And since that day, it's always been at war. And I was introduced to that at a really young age, and growing up in Iraq was as much as I can remember from it, it was a beautiful place full of beautiful people, and the culture in itself. Yes, I grew up in America, but my roots are there, and I will always remember where I come from, and that's why I think it fuels me to always remember that. Because back home we didn't have much opportunities, we didn't have much of the things that we do today, and for me to be here in a high rise speaking to you in your native tongue, it's like
Selling multi-million-dollar properties,
absolutely, yeah, it's like
cruising around in your Raptor, shooting guns for fun,
it's
right?
it's unreal, man, and I'm grateful for it every single day. But to go back a little bit into my story, so born and raised in Baghdad, and my father was a hardworking man, and he did his best to build his own house with his own hands, and help of others. And we didn't have much. We weren't terribly poor where we were starving. We had meals on the table, but it was also uh, more of a fear that we were living in all the time. My dad left the house. We didn't know if he was going to come back. We left the house. We didn't know if we were going to come back. As kids, we're playing out in the streets, bullets blazing by, sometimes stray bullets. My cousins getting hit with stray bullets. That's a normal thing. 4th of July here in America is every day in Iraq. That's how I like to put it. Every day, the fireworks, the explosions, the rattling. If we're sitting here in a high rise and a tank rolls by, you're going to feel it. It's going to eat up the entire street, right? That's our playground, the streets. It eats up the entire street, and then it rattles the entire building. That plays a big role. I remember as a kid hiding under the stairs with my mom and my siblings, and just hearing dishes fly off the china cabinet and just because the house was
Wow.
shaking. It almost felt like an earthquake, but it was just tanks passing by, and that was the norm. We lived in that. And my entertainment as a kid was we had a 2-story house, and a rooftop on top, and I would go to the second floor, and we had this big glass window, and you can see the outside. So if I'm looking out this window, probably from here to that APS building. But yeah, I would look out that window at night, and I would see there was this bridge. So our house was in a corner, and on the corner lot, and in front of us is all farmland. And it's a 2-story house, so we can see far in the distance. And at the end of the farm, there was a bridge, and that bridge, across from there's a police station, and I can see both the police station and the bridge. And these pickup trucks would go on top of the bridge with like 50 cals on top of the truck,
Whoa,
and they would just shred at the police station, right? And
that's wild.
it just shoot, 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 and then U.S. troops would come in to back up the police station, because these guys are trying to break somebody out of the jail. And it would just be this fire exchange, helicopters coming, and it's just this whole thing. I'm watching a movie. It's like I'm watching American Sniper right in front of me.
Wow.
And that, like, I got to see that at like 6, 7 years old. I was really young, and then seeing amongst many of other things, like, I got a bunch of stories that I can tell about that. But just those events alone, they have never like traumatized me in my life. But I've always lived my life that it's a survival mode. Every day is a survival mode. And that's how I live my life today, but not in a negative way, like not in a negative context. I take it in a positive context, because survival is very much valid in everyday life. Everybody, if your excuse if you may have an excuse, somebody else has a reason to go do it. Therefore, that's survival. It's competition, and it's healthy competition, because then you can keep yourself accountable to keep pushing forward. And that's how I've always lived my life, is you know keep staying on your toes, really.
It's
Don't.
like you never took your life or your safety for granted
No,
the
yeah,
way it's easy to do when you are safe, you are comfortable, right?
absolutely.
But it's like you realize, like, hey, dude, if we went and played outside and no one got hurt today,
Yeah,
like it
that
was
was a
it
good
was a
day.
beautiful day.
Yeah, that was a good day. And us as kids, I mean, we were bad kids. Like, we weren't like good kids. I was a good kid in school, and to my mom, I was an angel. but we were out in the streets and fighting other kids and, messing this up,
But
doing
when you're
this,
seeing
whatever,
stuff
it
like
was,
that, dude,
we,
that's
that's how our nature was, and,
yeah.
and it was just like, it was to survive, and then when I was 9 years old, um, there was a lot of things that happened, and my family's always been very open minded, especially about like the religion. So because in Islam and in Iraq, is a big divide of the Sunnis and the Shias, right? So it's a in Islam, just like you have Catholics and Christians, you have Sunnis and Shias, but instead of being two different religious practices, they're the same religion. They pray to the same God and everything, but they each have their own rules and guidelines and
Hmm.
territory and things like that. And that's the biggest divide in Iraq, and that's why there's a lot of war. So, but my dad was never cared about that. He was just always, I'm a Muslim. That's it. That's all I need to say. I don't need to associate with either party or either gang
Right.
or whatever. But they didn't like that, so we got threatened and got a letter, a little letter with 3 bullets in it, in the front of our door, one for my dad, one for me, and one for my brother.
Wow.
And that's so we're the men in the house. And my dad was like, nah, fuck that. We're not doing that. We're gonna get out of here. So he packed his things and he went to Lebanon. Didn't get into Lebanon. They stamped his passport, so he had to go to Syria. And then he went to Syria, found us a place, did all, got situated, and then we followed him.
So you just left
Literally
your whole
just
life behind.
just
Your
left.
house that he built
So
with his
the house that
hands.
he built, this is the worst part. The house that he built, we lived in it. He didn't even finish the stairwell. We literally lived in it for like 6 months tops.
Wow.
And he was building it for 2 years or some change. And he literally, we never lived in it.
Wow.
So we just said, fuck it, let's pack our shit and let's leave. We went to Syria, and Syrians were very welcome. They were very, very good people. We lived in an apartment, and the person that owned the building was super nice, and it was a good life. And then we found out that the UN was flying people to the US, the United
Mm.
Nations. So we're like, all right, let's try it out. My parents went and applied, and we did like a bunch of tests and questions and interviews, and then in a few months they were like, hey, you're going to America.
Whoa.
I was like, man, 9, 10 at the time, turning about 11 maybe. And then I was like, shit, we're going to America. I didn't speak a click of English. Dude, I used to chase around like Humvees and like, Hummers that rolled by our streets, and we'd say Mr. and we say ball. Mr. Ball. That's literally the 2 words that have always stuck with me my whole life. Mr. and ball. Because we say that and they throw soccer balls, or they throw like water bottles, snacks, or whatever. And we're kids. We get geeked the fuck out from that shit. Seriously, it's like the best thing ever. I remember one time there was these two patrol guys that always parked in the corner of our street, and in the morning I'd go like make breakfast or something, and I'll take it to them, and they loved that so much they would always give me stuff in exchange, and then the next day they'd come back and bring me more shit because they were like this kid, and we keep in mind we didn't have like a conversation. They would try to talk to me, but I'm just like looking at them like fucking aliens, like uh-huh. Yeah, here you go. Give me the snacks, motherfucker. That's all I want. And that's all I knew as a kid. And but not right now. I'm like, shit, man. I hope you see this. You're out here somewhere and you remember a kid that was like on the corner of the street giving you tea and breakfast in the morning. Like, I want to meet you and I want to hug you. Like shit.
That'd be
That
so
was
wild
such a
if you
wild,
got back in
yeah.
contact with one of those
It's
guys.
insane. But I don't know. They're probably like, I don't know where they could
Might be
be.
retired now.
Maybe.
That was a minute ago.
I don't know. Yeah. That was like in 2004, 2003. And then through the United Nations, we flew to the US. They flew us into Dearborn, Michigan. We were there for a very short time. And then we settled in Denver, Colorado.
So what'd you bring with you? Like the clothes off your back and a
Literally, yeah.
suitcase?
Basically, so when I was in Syria, I wanted to buy a guitar because when I was a kid, I really wanted a guitar. I was watching this show where they were like, it's a music show where they lived in this resort or whatever, and they played music and they had to perform, and it's kind of like the X Factor, but they like it's a like the Bachelor, or Bachelorette, whatever, but music. And
Wow.
I remember this one singer, he had a guitar and he was playing it, and I like loved that. So I saved up like a lot of money. I was working with my dad and my uncles and trying to like save money. It was like really young, like 11. And I saved enough money to buy a guitar, and I went and bought a guitar right before we flew to the US. And I was carrying this big ass guitar with me. And this is the fucked up part, man. It's been about 14, 15 years now, and I never bought a guitar again. But here's why. When I was on the plane, somebody came up to me and said, "Hey," they said something to me, and they pointed to the front of the plane. Like I couldn't take the guitar with me. And well, of course, you can't put it over it. But I've never been on a fucking plane in my life, bro. Neither of
Right.
any of my like family members. We're like, what the fuck? So we took whatever we could, and they were like, "No, you can't bring this on the plane." The guy was like, I think what he said was, "I'll take it and I'll give it to you when you land." I never saw the guitar again, ever.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with it, but it just never. I never got the guitar, and from that day on, I was so pissed. I never wanted a guitar. I never wanted to learn, wanted anything with it. And then this past year, I bought a guitar. It's right
Nice.
here. I'm still waiting to learn, but yeah. So, but
That's
basically, we
awesome.
packed literally whatever we could get our hands on because we were so limited, and our entire life was on, each person a suitcase, and that was it.
Wow.
Like I insisted on bringing a guitar. That was because I had worked so hard for it, and then it vanished. But we settled into Denver, Colorado. It was cold, man. It was very cold. We weren't used to it. I remember walking in the park with my brother. I have a brother. He's older than me. He's 5 years older than me. Um, and we were walking, and we watched a few like kids playing soccer. So we were like going to explore and see, but we were so intimidated because we didn't speak the language. We didn't even know like how to walk the streets. We didn't. It was so new, and it was so clean, and it was so different. Like, you can imagine the culture shock. And
Yeah.
all I had to reference was like Will Smith movies, dude. Fucking Prince of Bel Air, which we didn't even know what that was. It was just like it was a black guy dancing in some cool gear, and like he had the family. That's how we interpret movies, based on what we put together, not based on what they said. And sometimes there's Arabic subtitles, but as a kid, I'm not reading that fast. Fuck that.
Right.
It's just trying to pick up. But we'd watch like Transformers and this and that. But yeah, from Denver, we moved to Arizona because my dad had a friend here. And when we got here, I lived off of 27th Avenue in Thomas, right
Okay.
right next to the freeway. There was these apartment complexes. I'm gonna buy that apartment complex one day.
There you go.
I'm gonna
Nice.
buy that because I fucking hated the lady who worked at the office. She was a total bitch. So I'm gonna buy that whole thing and fire her ass. Um, but and then I went to the elementary school, Hurd Elementary, which a lot of my middle school friends know me there as Soldier. This is my last name. 'Cause people like they used to call me Soldier, so it's stuck. Like in middle school, everybody called me Soldier. Um, but and that was on 27th Avenue and no, 29th or 30th Avenue and um, no 25th Avenue. Yeah, we're going down on avenues, and it was on Thomas. It's called Hurd Elementary School.
Okay.
Phenomenal school. That's where they put a lot of the refugees, and that's where you learn English. And like you know, when I first went in, I hated school. I absolutely hated school. I wanted nothing to do with school. But that's because I didn't understand the language. I didn't understand. I didn't even have people that spoke Arabic in that school. I was the only kid. There was this one kid. His name is Ahmad, and shout out to Ahmad. I'm sure he's watching this right now. Ahmad Stanigzai. He's also a realtor right now. He just became a realtor about a year ago. Phenomenal kid. Him and I we're different. I think he's younger than me by 3 years, but him and I clicked right away. We didn't speak the same language. He was from Afghanistan. I'm from Iraq. We didn't speak the same language, but we were like, hey, we're both confused. Let's be confused together. And let's try to figure this shit out. I hated school so much, I forced myself to throw up so I can go home.
Wow.
Yeah. I woke up one day pretending to be fucking deaf. Like I couldn't speak. I like pretended not to speak so I didn't go to school. My mom was, get your ass to school. Then I started learning because they put me in the ESL classes, English speaking learning, English language learner, and I started to pick up on the language and on the culture of middle school kids. And kid you not, I had my pants like up to my fucking chest, bro. Hair combed to the side. I was a geek, just this geek kid. I was just very geeky. And slowly, pants went down a little bit. English got a little bit better. Middle school. This is like third grade, fourth grade, and then by seventh grade, I spoke really good English
Nice.
to the point where I was teaching in my chemistry class.
Wow.
I swear. So my seventh and eighth grade was so good that one of my chemist teachers, Miss Medea, shout out to her, she recommended that I go to this middle school, to this high school in downtown Phoenix, or yeah, here on 7th Street in Roosevelt. It's called Bioscience.
Mm.
And I kid you not, man, I attribute a lot of my critical thinking to that school because it was a very different school. It really taught me how to think critically and outside the box. And it helped me like really think in a as free in a free space, not hey, open the book to this page or this page. And it was very different. My graduating class was 64 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was
Was
a
it
very
just for
small school.
like gifted kids basically? It was like an
It
advanced
was it was a
program or
public school. It's a Phoenix Union District school, but
wow.
you had to get approved to get in.
Uh,
Yeah. So anyway, so freshman year in high school is from eighth grade to freshman year in high school. That summer, I think my life kind of transitioned a little bit because I started working. Like I started working more here in the U.S. and like so we bought a restaurant or a market, Middle Eastern market here. We opened a Middle Eastern market in off of 35th and Camelback. And when my family was running it, I was helping them out. And then I slowly started to learn more about the business to a point where I would leave school at like 3 o'clock, take the light rail, and then take the light rail to 19th and Camelback, and then take the bus on Camelback all the way up to 35th Ave to get to school or to get to the market and work there till like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and then get picked up and go home, do homework, do it again, and do it again, do it again. After doing that for a few years, my sophomore year in high school, and then going into my junior year, I bought my first car. My sophomore year, I bought my first car from because I was taking a college course with Phoenix College, and they gave me financial aid. So I kid you not, bro. I took that money. Keep in mind, to this point, like we still are trying to. My dad was a taxi driver at this time. My mom didn't work. My brother was working. He was moving houses, and I have two sisters, and they weren't working. They were just focused on school. But my dad was just going out being a breadwinner in this point. He didn't speak English, so he was driving taxi, just going off of GPS that he learned how to use. So adapting to the culture was still kind of challenging to this point. Like we didn't have any credit cards. We were still in survival mode. It wasn't really until the last like 5, 6 years, 7 years of my life that we really like started to, me personally and my family, to immerse in the culture. You know, my dad right now, he's probably got the TV on in Arabic stations, just chilling, watching in Arabic. He still doesn't speak very good English, but that's, you know, I always attribute my success and everything that I do today to them, to my mom and dad. Because from everything that I just told you, I was just this kid moving along, dodging this and that, trying to get to safety. Yeah, man, I always think about this. I have a mantra written down, and my mantra is that I have people that depend on me in real estate to do them the service, right? Something along those lines. And the other part is who am I to be who am I to just sit around and not take advantage of the opportunities that my parents have given me? And I think about that all the time because without them, man, I would not be here today. I would not be here speaking to you. I would not be safe. I would not be sound, and I wouldn't be anywhere near what I'm doing right now. I'd probably be shot dead somewhere in Iraq or in prison or just trying to make ends meet. I would not have the safety and the comfort of being in a country that has this much opportunity and live in a freaking high rise, bro. To live like a king, and come from what I come from,
Like when you were running around in the streets hearing
Absolutely.
gunfire, like you probably didn't think this is how you're gonna
Absolutely,
end
bro.
up.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of stories that, it would take me probably 5 hours to go through and tell you everything, but it wasn't pretty, man. None of it was pretty. It was very hard, and I got to see a lot of shit at a very young age. And I don't know if maybe in 20 years, 15 years, this shit is going to come back and haunt me or not, but I know that no kid should be introduced to that at no age, let alone an adult with a family and having to survive because your family depends on you. Bro, my dad used to have a gun the size of a cigarette pack. You could put it inside of a cigarette pack. He's like you were always in danger. It doesn't matter where you were. It's always danger.
I think what you just hit on too is like a very deep truth of kind of what I heard was you're operating from a sense of duty to your parents for all the sacrifices and risks they took. Your dad just walked away.
100%.
He could have very easily just complied with them. Like right
Absolutely.
when he got that letter with the bullets in
Absolutely.
it,
Absolutely.
the easy thing would be like, well, like
Right.
we're in over our head. Like I gotta protect my family. I gotta just go along with
Absolutely.
these people.
Absolutely.
And I think like that spirit in him is like shining through to you with the risk you take for the greater good too. I think that's so powerful, dude. So amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
And operating from a sense also of duty, like when you're saying you're not really inwardly focused, it sounds like, other than making the best version of yourself, but not even really for yourself. It's like you're making the best version of yourself for everybody else
Absolutely.
to
Because they
benefit as
deserve it.
well.
They deserve it, man. The people around you deserve the best version of you. And if
Thousand
you don't
percent.
think that, you're very selfish. Because what you do every day, it somebody out there loves you. Somebody out there cares for you. Somebody wants to make sure you're safe, you're healthy, and you're prosperous, and you're moving forward in the right direction. And my mother is my rock. I call my mother every single morning. I text her, call her every single morning, because I have to make sure she knows that her baby boy is safe. I'm the youngest of four, right? I'm the only one that's out of the house right now that lives by himself with my beautiful girlfriend. But to get to that point, I needed to learn. I needed to earn her trust. I needed to earn her trust, and her watching me grow and watching me become a businessman. I've always been a hustler. I've always wanted to. I've sold this, that, done this, then this. And she's always watched me, but she's never seen me in a career, in a steady path where I am focused on the right things, and I'm not making money, but I'm also doing stupid shit. This and that. When she saw that, and when she saw that version of me, she was happy and content, and she knew that when I'm out in the real world, that I'm gonna be okay. I know how to conduct myself. I know how to be okay. Because where we come from, if it starts lightning, she's got to worry. If there's any sound, her heart starts beating. She knows that something out there is gonna potentially hurt me. And over the years, as we lived in America, she learned that America is not as dangerous as it is. I'm sorry, but even the worst neighborhoods of America are not necessarily as bad as what we had experienced back home. Over there's a choice. Over here, there's a choice. Over there is no choice. That's a style. That's a way of living. You step in the wrong somebody. You do something to somebody's family, you're done. Your family's done. It's family's family that's gonna get in. It's deep. It's very, very deep. You and I are sitting. We both have our last name. And back home, last names are everything. Because my real name is about 6 names long, 7 names long. It's only 6 or 7 because that's as far as we can remember. But it goes way deeper, thousands and thousands of years, right? And that means a lot to us as Middle Easterns. And that's the biggest problem that the United States never understood. So when they went in, yes, they meant well, but they went in with the wrong mindset. They wanted to calm things down, give people opportunity, give people freedom, right? But they did it in the wrong ways, because you're stepping into somebody's territory This family's lived here for thousands of years. Now you want to take that away and say, hey, from now on, you don't make any decisions. This is your representative. You talk to him. Whatever you want, he will go to Congress and he will speak on your behalf, and then you can vote. Good deal? No, man. That's not how we work.
Right.
Democracy may work in America or any other places in the world, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you think it doesn't, but
It's just such a different framework that
it's
everybody's
so
coming
different.
from.
So
you know
different.
what I mean?
It's very different.
It's like two different worlds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But to go back to the point that, yeah, absolutely, it is a duty. It is a duty because who am I, just like I say in my mantra, who am I to be lazy and not take advantage of those opportunities? Because, man, I tell you, I had an uncle who came to the U.S. He was a war prisoner in Iran for 12 or 13 years. He was a war prisoner from the Iraq-Iran war.
Wow.
Every day they got beat the fuck out of them. The shit beat out of them. I swear, every day he tells me. He doesn't have a single dark hair on his beard, eyebrow, or hair. He's just white all over because he was had such a hard life. And to be in prison for 12 or 13 years and then get out, now he lives in Canada and he has like 7 kids. But he came to the US, man, and he tells me, he's like, man, he's like, between US and Canada, if I can hypothetically take a shovel and dig for gold, I would, because this country is flourishing with it. And he's talking about opportunities. A man who's been in prison for 13 years, who was literally every day thinking, okay, I'm going to die tomorrow. Okay, maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe not today. Maybe tomorrow. And then 13 years later, they just let him back. And he came back home, didn't know where his family was. He was just walking down the street and somebody asked him who you are. And he said, I'm from this family. And they brought him home. Imagine seeing your brother at 12 or 13 years later when you think he's dead. All right? That's insane. But he came here and he recognized those opportunities. And that's what a lot of foreigners do, man, is they recognize these opportunities. Like, who the fuck are you to sit on your ass and not take advantage of those opportunities, even if you didn't have it hard?
Absolutely.
If you came out the mud, if you really knew what it's like to not have shit, to not have opportunities, to be suppressed in your thinking, in your action, in everything you do, even in the things that you're getting, as much as fresh air, man. If you weren't introduced to fresh air and then you are, what does that do for your life? And that's what America did for me. It was a breath of fresh air to be in this country. So every day I take that and I always remind myself that. And even the people that I meet, man, I tell them my story because it then reminds me of who am I and how these people perceive me. You know, it's very important. I know people say, like, don't worry about what other people think about you. No, I respect that to a certain extent because of my roots of where I come from. Respect is a lot, right? Shaking your hand and giving you my word is important.
Yeah,
those fundamentals
could be a death sentence, basically.
Absolutely. Those principles are universal. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Right? But it's people that elevate you, but it's also people that bring you down to the ground. Right? If people hate this podcast, they won't even touch it again. But if people love us and they love what we're producing, they'll take us to the moon. Right? That's why it's important to carry yourself well. That's why it's important to treat people well. So yeah, I do care about what other people think. Now, that's what I think it's important.
Absolutely.
So,
and I've kind of gone through that process myself too, of like caring what people think, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Right? Where like how I think is based on how they think, but then once you kind of get your own situation worked out, right?
Right.
And you kind of have your vision, have your purpose, have your goals, and you're good with you, then I think like the next step is now you see yourself in everybody else,
right.
And you want to heal that same pain that you healed in yourself.
Right.
Right. And then now is the mission of like, let's help get people out of these. Like, if you're ever depressed, like the best thing to do is to just go help someone. Right. Or just like, if you ever think you're in a bad situation, just know like there's always someone so much worse. Right. And even like, even the kid in Baghdad, is still in a better position than someone that's s- facing crazy health issues, right?
Absolutely.
There's certain things in
It could
life.
always be worse.
There's no escaping. Like we
Absolutely.
all have the same end, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's so crazy that that didn't break you and it didn't make you negative or sour, or it's just such a blessing. I think it's just really the
That's
plan for your life, dude.
absolutely. That's why I said when in the beginning when I was going to talk about my story, I said none of what I've been through, none of what I've seen I would change. Like I don't wish I grew up in a rich family and had, everything provided for me. I don't. I don't. And I don't wish that for my kids because my kids will never, you know, they wouldn't experience or appreciate the same things that I would appreciate today because it's provided to them. See, it's all about that. It's what is provided to you and what is a necessity. If we can separate those two, like your desires and the necessities are different. If we can highlight those for kids, then they have a much better future. And I think that's what happens to me, and that's what happens to a lot of foreigner kids, even Americans that came out the mud, like you, right? You appreciate opportunities a lot more because every door you open, you just open five more doors.
Right.
And that feeling is infinite. It's always going to happen. It's always going to multiply. And that is why networking is so important and powerful because you have access. It's all about identity, man. With people. Did this end again? Guys, sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you for being patient with us. All of this will be recorded and will be posted on Spotify and YouTube and multiple other streams. So thanks for tuning in. And we'll try to wrap this up.
All right. So just
Yeah.
kind of recap, right? So we've learned about your journey growing up in Iraq, seeing crazy shit every day, explosions, gunfire, never knowing like if you're gonna come home that day from playing or going
Yeah.
to the store was like a life or death situation.
Yeah.
Your dad getting a note with 3 bullets in it for you, him, and your brother,
Right.
and then taking off from the house that he built with his own hands,
Right.
and like was
He
just
drew
getting
he
to
drew the
complete.
plan. He drew the plans out like himself. And like over there you can build when he was growing up, he built his house on top of his brother's house, and then his brother built his house on top of his house, and his fourth
Wow,
brother built a fourth house. So it's a four-story house that they all lived in. They all got married and lived in the same house.
it's crazy.
Yeah. And then he built this house like after many, many years. And, we lived the house before that we lived, I'm kid you not, it was a hallway with a bedroom and an upstairs. That's it. It was a 2-bedroom house. And I remember there was a bunk bed in that 2-bedroom, and me and my brother would do front flips off the bunk bed, and I ripped my head wide open. I have a scar right here
Oh my
where
gosh.
hair doesn't grow. It's literally probably about 2 inches. I busted my head on the corner on the baseboard. It was tile baseboard and hit my head.
Ugh.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like growing up there. I had birds and like it was very simple life. But occasionally you get one time the U.S. Troops came through and busted our door down and just started screaming, "Move, move, 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 move!" And everybody was against the wall, and they were just going through the house, getting on the roof, jumping on the roof, our roof, to somebody else's roof, and chasing somebody down. It's like, we got to see that. And I was a kid. My mom would just hug me and like hide me away so I don't see it. But I heard everything, and I could see it in the corner of my eyes. So that was part of it. The interaction with the U.S. soldiers was always so amazing to me because they were so ordered and so structured, versus like our military was so scattered and with AKs and just screaming their head off, and that never painted a bad image in my head. Like I never hated. I was like, oh fuck these U.S. soldiers. Like never did, because I knew why they were there. Because I knew our country was fucked up, and I knew that they would be the good hope. And even my parents would always tell me like they're going to save us.
And they showed you that kindness by bringing you
Absolutely,
snacks and,
absolutely, absolutely.
soccer balls.
Yeah. Occasionally there'll be a couple of soldiers that shoot stop signs and do dumb shit. But guess what? I'd probably do the same thing if I was somebody else's
Dude, they're probably
land.
looking around like, what the fuck, too?
Yeah,
Just
they're
like you
just like
were.
us. They were scared shitless, bro. Anybody
Yeah.
who's been in Iraq and has done time, they got fucking balls and they know what it's like. So when I talk to a lot of military guys, even though I didn't serve, like I feel I feel them because I was on the other side.
Right.
I was just as fearful.
So I'd love to kind of like jump in. So we've covered like this kind of epic build up, right? From coming to the US, you talked about your schooling, not speaking English, not fitting in at first, the culture shock.
Right.
When what was there like a pivotal moment that made you say like, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to get into real estate, or what kind of sparked that where you thought that was possible and started taking action?
Absolutely, yeah. So a big shift in my life was my last few days working retail at Nike.
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me the story. Yeah, this is good.
So I've always been like a hustler in a way. I've always sold things and tried to make money here and there. My first car, it's at a scrapyard right now because I sold every single screw in that fucking car. I literally bought it from, like I told you, from financial aid money. I bought it from the auction. And that's when I got introduced to the auctions, the car auctions. I was very young, sophomore, junior year. And then I bought my first car for like $1,500. It was a 1999 Honda Accord. And I went in and it was missing a bumper and headlights, whatever. We fixed it up. Me and my dad fixed it up. And he really taught me how to be hands-on with cars and things like that. He knew a lot about them. He used to work on like trains and things like that. But my first car, I flipped that one. Or I think my brother took it over. But I sold that car. First one was a Honda Civic, excuse me. First one was a Honda Civic. Then it was a Honda Accord. When I sold the Honda Civic, I made a little bit of money, right? And I was like, oh shit, this is kind of cool because I bought something really cheap and I sold it after I fixed it up for more money. So let me do it again and do it again and again and again. And I kept doing that. And that's where it started. And then after my junior year, I started working for Nike. So I was at Nike for three years. I worked retail. First, I was on the sales floor, folding T-shirts and helping customers. And then it slowly progressed to getting more and more interactive with people. I used to love it because I used to get to talk to people. And that's where I discovered my passion for like talking with people and building connections and helping them out, helping them, serving them. It was always a good feeling for me. I had people walk in and they wanted running shoes, like long distance running shoes. I would hook them up with the Nike that's got the most cushion, the Nike Air, whatever. And they had people that come in for like sprint shoes. We hook them up with the free runners or this and that, whatever. And explain the technology. Like I knew Nike's products so fucking well, bro.
Nice.
Then I got like tired of that. And then I moved to back of house, working and shipping and receiving. And I wanted to learn that a little bit more because with that, I was more isolated. I kind of got tired of people, but I realized that wasn't for me either because I was getting bored. But then it got to the point where I started to learn more about what's out in the real world. And I started to see people, entrepreneur people doing things that are like cool, like innovations, right? Sustainability, engineering, things like that. I wanted to be more than just doing what I'm doing. I've always had a passion for like programming. And I went through college. I have 2 associates. I got one in computer systems engineering. One of them is in applied science. But when I was at Nike, thinking about the store manager that worked at the place, every time I thought about him, it made me more and more irritated that I worked at this place. Because I realized that he had done so little for the company, but he was still the one that was up there. He was the one that had his own office, had his own fucking, entourage of managers, and they all sucked up to him. And he was always on his phone, not doing a goddamn thing, and he was just trying to be this big boss that he wasn't. He would go on walks for like 2 hours outside the mall and just lose some weight and loosen up. Like while we're fucking crushing, we're like it's Black Friday and we're in the back just stamping shit, pricing shit, getting organizing, taking boxes at 6 a.m, unloading them. Then I realized one day, I was when I moved to the shipping and receiving, I realized what they were doing with the return shoes. Anybody that returned any shoes, even if you never worn them, Nike never resells them. They're supposed to send them back. They're supposed to ship them back to Nike's headquarters. Instead, what the retail store did at the Glendale Tanger outlets, they would put them in a plastic bag. They put them in a bin, plastic bag, tie it up, and throw it in a compressor trash. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Why are we throwing shoes like that? Right? So instead of throwing them in the trash, I would throw them behind the trash can. And after work, I would go pick them up and take them. You're going to throw them in the trash anyway. One man's trash is another man's treasure. So I started taking these shoes, man. Jordans, Air Force Ones, this and that, running shoes, whatever. I started selling them on OfferUp, Craigslist, and all that. That's, why not, right? And I made a fucking killing, bro. I made really good money from that. Because I'd get shoes and I'd sell them for 60, 50, 100, 110, this, that, boom, boom. Clothes too. They would throw everything away. Then they found out, and then the store manager confronts me and fires me on the spot. And I was like, no shit. You're going to fire me. All right, cool. I'm your best fucking guys. And I'm out here hustling. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not stealing from you. You're throwing it in the trash. I'm just taking it. So then I quit. Took my shit off. I went and I clocked out for the last time. And when you ask me when was a pivotal moment, this was about 4 years ago. I clocked out for the last time. And I told myself, I will never clock in any place ever again. And I'm just going to figure it out. And to this day, thank God, I have never clocked into any place ever again since that day.
And I'm clocked in all the time.
I'm clocked into myself.
That's right.
Into my business, my family, my God, and that's it. So that was a very pivotal moment for me, for sure.
So why don't you talk a little bit about like what you have going on now, kind of where you started in real estate and like kind of
yeah, absolutely
what you got going on. Yeah.
I got started in real estate when I came across wholesaling on YouTube.
Me too.
I started I saw videos. I watched Max Maxwell. Shout out to Max Maxwell. That fucking guy is a genius. He's a legend. Okay. I love his style. I love what he does. And I watched him and I came across a piece of land that I knew somebody in the car game was wanting to sell. And it was in Colorado Springs. For $10,000, he was wanting to sell it. So I had somebody local here in Arizona. I cannot think of their name to save my life, but they helped me. It was all virtually. They helped me lock the deal up and sell it. And I sold it and made $7,000. It was like 6 and some change. $7,000 from that assignment. That piece of land today is probably worth 100,000 plus. Guaranteed. But I sold it, got paid, and I was like, wow, that's cool. Ex-girlfriend at the time, she saw me getting into real estate, getting really passionate about real estate. I was driving around everywhere. I was looking at distressed properties just like everybody else does. And I was trying to learn. But I realized that in my mind, I was like, wholesaling is ripping people off. I don't want to do that. Literally, that's what I thought to myself. I was like, literally, wholesaling is ripping people off. I don't want to do that. I'm being dishonest with them. So then she recommended that I would just go get real estate license. I was like, that's not a bad idea. As I was searching, I found out, realtors, what they do, their job and all that. And I went and did it. I studied my butt off for weeks. I remember my brother coming down the stairs and he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm studying to get my real estate license. He's like, man, everybody's a realtor. And whatever. In one ear, out the other. Sure, he meant well for me, but it was that comment at the time it resonated. I was like, I know everybody's a realtor. Everybody's a doctor. Everybody's an engineer. Everybody's this. Everybody's that. I can do it. And I can be the best at it. So that's what I wanted to do. I went and I studied for the test. I went through the classes, got everything. And then I went to take the test. I failed the test 4 times. First time I did really bad. It was like 60 something. Second time I took it, I got a 74. I need a 75 to pass. The third time I took the fucking test, I got 74 again. I swear to God, bro. 74 twice. And in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I should just probably, this isn't meant for me. I should probably just give it up. But then I watched some more videos of this guy in Tucson. He's got a brokerage and he was doing courses, and he said, learn about local law. Yep. Learn who the real estate commissioner is, what he does, what are the water rights, what are this, that. I learned all that. I went into the test. I passed it. Nice. Right? It was the state and federal test. I passed the federal right away because that's pretty general. State-specific stuff was very hard. So I went in and I crushed it, passed it. They don't tell you how much you get. So the fourth time, I passed it. Now, I got a real estate license. I used to hang around this hookah lounge off of 43rd and Peoria. It's called Habibi Hookah Lounge. And there was this girl that I met. Her name was Miriam. She, at the time, right as I was taking my license and test, she wanted to buy a place. And I was like, hey, wait for me. I'm getting my license. She waited and she stuck with me. And I set her up on a search. Somehow I learned how to do all that through my brokerage, West USA. Learned how to set up a search. Didn't know how to open a lockbox. Didn't even have the app for it. But I was with this girl, the client. I was trying to show her places. I went and I toured with her. She can literally attest to this. Probably 100 and some change properties. From single family to townhomes to apartments to this and that. We toured everywhere until we found one place finally. But as we were going through these places, weeks have passed by, and I'm just going through the courses that West USA is giving me. It was like, it was me in a classroom with like 15 other people. They were all probably in their late 50s, 60s, and they were trying to learn how to use the computer the first half of the class. I kid you not. West USA, love y'all, nothing against you, but you got a bunch of old people in there. But that's what it was. And so I needed somebody to show me the game. I needed somebody to teach me. So there was this guy, Zach Story. Shout out to Zach Story, great guy. He taught me a little bit about, like he was going to mentor me, and I knew that he was taking people on and training them and all that. The guy's dad passed away like the week that I came and talked to him. And I realized that he was a little bit distant with that. He had a lot on his plate, and it didn't work out. But shout out to the guy, amazing, phenomenal agent. Then I started flipping through West USA's agents, and I went through for a whole year. They post every month top 25 agents. Okay, and I went through and I looked at whose name keeps popping up on the 25 agents. And then I saw Lauren Rosen. Lauren Rosen kept popping up on West USA's top 25 agents. She had a team, small team, and she was doing deals and great culture and all that. So I saw her on Instagram, and I was like, I got to talk to this lady somehow. She was crushing it, and I slid in her DMs, and I was like, hey, I'm 4 weeks in the business. I don't know anything. I want to meet you. She was like, all right, come to my office. So I go, dressed nice. I went to meet with her and her sister, Jessica Rosen. Amazing people. They really took me in under their wing and helped me learn a lot about the business. And I soaked everything up, man. I became a sponge, and whatever I saw, I implemented. And then I went outside of that organization too. I looked at YouTube and I started learning new things and bringing it back to the team and adding value to them. And it was that type of environment. And
crazy. That's such a parallel to my journey too.
Yeah.
Like working with Sean Terry, exact same
absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, dude.
And it was a pivotal moment for me again, because then I started doing deals. My first deal, before I even closed on the client that I had, because I still haven't closed a deal with her, she came along with me as I joined the team and had done a deal with them. My first deal ever was a burnt down church in Glendale, okay, off of 61st Ave in Glendale. It was a half an acre lot with two buildings. Both buildings were bordered the fuck up. Everything was, you couldn't get a conventional loan on it if to save your life. So I ended up getting the buyer um, a hard money loan on the property with a seller carryback.
Oh wow.
There was
What, you got a hard money like down payment or what?
Yeah, like I got
Yeah.
a lender to fund a hard money loan, and the guy put cash down, like 10% down,
Yeah.
and the lender funded like, or the hard money guy funded like 120, but there was a $30,000 gap.
Ah,
So I talked to the seller, to agent, whatever, and we tried to get him to carry back that 30K, and he did.
wow.
And by the skin of my teeth, I was able to close that deal. It was my first deal ever, and I still have a picture of that check.
Wow.
Yeah, first retail deal. And from there, man, the sky was the limit. I really learned a lot about the business. And 3 years later, I was doing, 12 to 15 million in production. And it really shaped my life because I was in that entrepreneur mindset like no other. And I was just in grind mode. I had my
Yeah.
head down. I was just grinding. Now, granted, I was giving up a lot of my commission, absolutely, but that's the value exchange. Is I was getting value from the team, and I was giving them, my money, which is okay. But 3 years later, I was like, that's it. Like, I need to move on. The bird has to leave the nest. I'm not the type to settle. I want to grow and I want to scale. Um, and I decided to split ways and go on in my journey. As I was doing retail, I learned a lot about. I really wanted to be that realtor that knew how to invest in real estate, and I think that's what set me apart from a lot of realtors. Um, is that I was able to not only build my real estate portfolio, but also help others leverage and scale their portfolios. I was working with people from like Intel and engineers that had money saved up, and I would help them strategize, like doing the Burr method before I even knew it was called the Burr method. I was like actively trying to teach people how to do it, how to house hack into buying something with a hard money loan that needs work, renovating the property and refinancing it to live in it, and living in it for 2 years before selling it, so you can get a tax cut on it. So that
Mhm.
money is tax free, and then you go do it again after every 2 years. So I was teaching people this, and I was teaching them that even my first time buyers that didn't know how to invest in real estate, I was helping them build the mindset that like, hey, if you save money for 2 years, you'll have enough for a down payment on a rental property. You've already bought your single family home. Now let's get you in some rental properties. Every 2 years, I want you to create a fund. Every 3 months, I want you to put money into that fund. I want you to call it a mod fund. It's literally what I had them call it. And a mod fund, I want you to put money in and save it up for 2 years. You'll have enough for a down payment on a house. If you did that every 2 years, in 10 years, you'll have 5 properties. 10 years after that, you'll have 10. With those 10, you can leverage them and make them into 30 with the equity that you build in those properties. And a lot of people saw that and they saw the bigger picture in it. And I have a few clients that still stuck with it. And I've grown their portfolios from, one property to 10 to 15. And because they were able to learn how to leverage the banks, how to leverage their credit, how to leverage the equity that they built in the home, right? All these things are really important. And that's what made me a really good realtor. Because when I was talking to people, I wasn't talking to them about how to buy the house. I was talking to them about how to buy a house effectively, right? What is the best strategy for you? And through building rapport and gaining their trust, it was a lot easier for me to learn more about it and grow my portfolio and help them scale. And it turned into a lot of referrals. And you know, to this day, I'm 100% referral based, and I do great business. But that's not my vision. My vision is to go further and go farther and really grow a business and become you know build an empire. That's the goal. As I was doing retail, I was wholesaling a lot. I would get deals here and there. I'll see some stuff here and there. I knew about wholesaling. I didn't know how to grow a wholesale business. I didn't know how to skip trace data. I didn't know how to. I knew what contracts. I knew escrow. I knew how to close a deal. I knew what contracts looked like. I have a license. I can write my own contracts, and I was just implementing things, just shooting from the hip, really. And my first big wholesale deal I did back in 2019. I wholesaled a house off of Bethany and 15th Avenue. It was about a $56,000 wholesale assignment which
Nice.
as a realtor, that's like closing a 2 million, 2 to $2.6 million deal. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that was a big pay. And then as I moved away from the team, the market, the condition in the market really made it appealing for me to go wholesale. And then I just went for it, man. I was cold calling 8 hours a day, while trying to maintain my retail business, while having retail buyers that I have to show properties for. My girlfriend hated me.
So you were pounding the phones
I was
yourself.
pounding the phone, absolutely. For from like 8 o'clock in the morning till like 10 o'clock, I would call and I would stop,
Wow.
and then I would do retail stuff. And then at like 4 o'clock, I'd call and I'd call retail and wholesale. And I was always pitching like, hey, would you consider selling if it's the right time, if you get the right price and it makes sense, right? It wasn't always like, hey, do you want a cash offer? It was, hey, do you want to sell? Because all right, let's talk about it. What fits you better, a cash offer or listing it on the market? So I approached it in that, and I had multiple hats that I can put on. Because if I knew somebody was in a situation and their property wasn't in a good condition and they could use a cash offer to help them out of that situation, then I would use that cash offer. I'll make them a cash offer and I'll go turn around wholesale the deal. If they wanted to list the property and they had time, then I would help them leverage that, clean the property up, maybe do some paint. I had some contractors that I would work with, and we would just do all that and help them maximize their return. And that was really successful too. So I was coming in with multiple solutions and being able to execute.
So it's like your approach wasn't, I need a wholesale deal. Do you want a cash offer?
Right.
It was, what's your situation?
Right.
And maybe I'll have some options that can help you.
Right. My first big wholesale check came from a Zillow lead, a guy who wanted to purchase a property for him and his family. And through talking to him, building rapport, I found out he had a brother that lives in a house that his parents used to own. And it's a big house. He had it chopped up into 3 pieces and rented out to different people. The guy was like, the roof is falling apart. There's mold. There's this. There's that. And he was like, he wants to remodel it. I was like, okay. I was like, how about you connect me with your brother and I'll give him my honest input on what's the best route for him to sell this property. And I went and talked, saw the property. It was in terrible condition. And he was trying to remodel it himself. He had no money. And so when I talked to him, I said, listen, man, you owe 400,000 on this property. It's worth a lot of money, yes, but it's going to need at least 150 to 200,000 for you to fix it up to get it to that price.
Right.
And I was like, to be honest, listing this, you will not get a conventional buyer to buy it because banks are not going to be able to finance it.
Mhm.
The house has mold and it's falling apart. And he was like, yeah, you're right. I said, let's do this. I'll give you $25,000 in your hand, in your pocket, and I'll pay off your debt on the property, and you'll walk away free and clear. He loved it. He's like, oh shit, all right, 25K, boom, done. He walked away. I sold the deal for it was like 470 something. I think it was 478.
Nice. So you made 50 pop basically.
Yeah. That was the first, but it came again from a retail lead, which had turned into a wholesale lead. And then that's when it really clicked for me because I was like, all right, let me learn as much as I can about investing. And because that's going to be important. That's something that I'm passionate about is I want to invest in real estate and I want to be able to help people do it. And that's,
It seems like
really where
too,
I
there's
started.
kind of this pattern, right? Where you find something, you recognize an opportunity, you learn everything you could about it on your own,
Yeah.
then you connect with a high level authority person, you soak it up,
Yep.
add value to them,
Right.
extract value from them,
Right.
and then you take that relationship and then you always kind of had your eye on the horizon of like, okay, what's my next challenge? What's my next new thing? How can I take things to the next level? And it seems like
Absolutely.
kind of just that pattern repeating, and
Absolutely.
that's killer. Like that's a killer gem, like for the new people to take away.
Absolutely.
That feels stuck,
Be
right?
be a student of the game and understand that until you know more than the person in front of you, do whatever the fuck they're doing.
Right.
And put your ego aside And if they're better than you, admit that they're better than you, right? Just like that post that I just sent.
So crazy, dude, because like the most successful people a lot of times are super humble. And then the people with the biggest egos a lot of time are the people that don't take risks,
Right.
that don't work hard
Right.
because they feel like hard work is beneath them,
Right.
or it means that they're less than, or they don't want to admit they don't know something.
Absolutely.
It's very counterintuitive, you
Absolutely.
know?
Take a lot of those gurus that you see and take away their possessions, right? Take away their cars, take away their money and their their face and their brand. Take all that out of their life and look at them naked, right? If you took everything from me that I materially own, if you even like wiped my memory, I'm going to still be able to come back and build that because it's not on me, it's in me. You
You
know,
are the
I
asset
am
that
the
drives
asset.
everything.
And I didn't really think in that sense, and I didn't really think in the business mindset until I got to network with a lot of the wholesalers and the entrepreneurs in the wholesale. A huge shout out to Sal Shacker, and the All In guys, and Amir Hilali and his brother. Phenomenal guys, and Rich Wonders, of course, and a lot of the guys that I know closely, that have really been an example. More than anything, I never look at anybody as competition like that because everybody's doing something that's working for them. I just need to figure out what works for me and what fits into my style, and how can I take that and implement it into my business and into my daily life and be the best version of myself as a leader and as a student of the game, you know? And I think that's where it really boils down is a lot of new people come into this business and they look at the material stuff and they look at somebody's success, without thinking about what did this person have to overcome in order to become what they are right now. A lot of people ask successful people like, "What's your morning routine? What's the fuck all that? Tell me where you've been. Tell me what you experienced. Right? I want to know what you've been through because what you've been through has made you who you are, and that's what I want to learn. And that's the gems is in that process. It's not in the destination. And a lot of times we live in such a instant gratification world that we want things instantly, right? I want a six
Right.
pack, boom. I want strawberries, boom. I want this, that comes right away because of how we live our life now. Because of strawberries, you can grow strawberries. You couldn't get strawberries all year round 10 years ago. You had to wait a certain season, or go somewhere and fly out somewhere, or grow them yourself, right? You had
Right.
to do that. But now on Amazon I can get strawberries in 2 hours. But if I want a six pack, I got to go put in the work,
Yeah.
right? If I want something that's
If you want to be happy,
yep,
if you
right?
want to feel fulfilled,
Absolutely.
you can't buy that.
Absolutely. You cannot buy that.
And the more you try to buy it,
yeah.
the more empty you'll feel.
Absolutely.
Dude, I think you hit like a really like deep truth too. Like it kind of made me think like in this business, I think the reason why the people that like are very financially successful, the reason they're so humble is like in this business especially, you get your ass kicked a lot. You get a lot of ass whoopings. And the only
Absolutely.
people you see that are kind of cocky are people that like just started winning because they think, you know what I mean? Like you're first starting to get checks and everything
Absolutely.
and all that shit. Because you think like, oh yeah, I'm the shit.
Yep.
But then as you keep getting your ass kicked, you realize like,
Here's something about checks.
yeah.
And I want to make a public service announcement. Everybody that's posting checks on their Instagram and on their platform, right? You're attracting that energy. You're putting that into the universe. That your main concern is getting those checks, right? And the universe has a funny way of doing it, of twisting things around. For me, I've never looked at anybody who made a big check and was like, wow, like that's so cool. I want to do what they're doing. It has never impressed me. You know what impresses me? Somebody who graduates and has a badass degree, right? Because that person is educated. I know as entrepreneurs we talk shit about school, but it's this principle. It's the school is one thing, but the individual is another. This is why the world cares that you have a degree, is because they want to know that you're committed, that you're willing to commit to something long enough to see a result. And that's what a lot of people with degrees do. Somebody who has a business, a successful business, that's somebody who I admire, not somebody who just made a fat check. That's why you'll never see checks on my story. Because I want people to admire my journey, not my results. Because people don't love you when you're winning. They love you when you're trying.
Right. No, I agree with that. Where it's like the thing that's most admirable is like watching someone struggle and overcome a great difficulty,
Absolutely.
rather than someone that has a bunch of stuff, and especially like the checks. Like I kind of have mixed feelings. Like the thing I do like about the checks is for the new people, a lot of them don't even think it's real.
Yeah.
And when they see the check, it shows them like, look, this is real. But the thing when people start like making it look like a rap video where you're like shitting on everyone.
People are watching you because they know the checks are real. Right? I don't want somebody to see me post a check and then fall in love with me. No. Right. I want them to just stumble upon my path and understand that I may have a gem for you that's going to change your life, right? Not because you want something out of it, right? I don't want people around me to chase the check. Yes, that's the goal. Everybody wants the checks. We're going to get the money. The money is coming, but money is not the objective.
You have to get the check to realize it's not about the check.
Absolutely. Oh,
that's
absolutely.
What it is.
Absolutely. I agree.
So you get the check, and it's just like being fit.
Yep.
You have to get fit to realize it's not about being fit, but it's also not about not being fit.
Right.
It's not about being broke either.
Yes.
It's not about not providing, but it's the person you become, not the result.
The purpose of life is that you fucking enjoy the journey, because if you woke up tomorrow, if you were born yesterday and you woke up in heaven, guess what? Heaven is your normal. That's what the fuck you're used to. You literally were born in it. Right? Yeah. But somebody who's lived in hell and then you take them and put them in heaven, what are they going to do? They're going to appreciate heaven a lot more. And that's the meaning of life, is we're on this earth because there's a lot of jacked up shit in it, but there's a lot of good in it. But the bad outweighs, sometimes outweighs the good outweighs the bad. And it's just the cycle of up and down. The goal is to be at peace, is not to be happy, right? Happiness is subjective, but being at peace is more important. But the point of it all, God is all knowing. He knows what the fuck you're going to do before you do it. Right. But the whole point of why you're on this planet is so you can know the value of what life really is. Because when you're 60, you're going to fucking wish you had the time that you did today. And that is something that fuels me up every day, bro, because I wake up every day and I tell myself, I'm 24 and I'm going against 35, 40, 50, and 60-year-old motherfuckers. I'm 24. These guys, they're not my like competition. I don't make them feel like, oh, I'm going to fucking come for you. But to myself, it's me versus me. But I know that time is my biggest asset. For all these young people out there who are in their 20s, even if you're in the late 20s, man, in 10 years, you're going to be in your late 30s. How much shit can you accomplish in 10 years? And that's what we fail to understand, is the power of how much we can accomplish in just 1 year, let alone 10 years. If in 10 years, bro, I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed, I'm still going to be 34.
Right.
That's 10 years, dog. If I'm 21 and I try and fail for 10 years, bro, you're still 31. What the fuck are you worried about? You're not even halfway through your life. This is the best time to live, bro. This is the absolute prime time, because right now, with how things are happening, the way the world it works, we're sitting in a penthouse, in a high rise, in my apartment, and we're making content that 10 years ago probably people were like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" We're crushing deals. We're making money. People that have never made more than $30,000 a year now make $50,000 in a check.
In a deal.
And
it's not their only deal.
It's not even their only deal. They got 6 other in the pipeline.
And they're doing it from their home on a laptop.
Facts.
They're selling it on Instagram.
Facts.
Dude, that mobile home deal.
Yeah.
I got.
My boy just crushed a 40 rack deal real quick.
So, dude, I sent out like 5 DMs and it was sold. Like,
it's nuts. That's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that though. Look, how do you get involved in real estate? And I'll start with this because I think it's very important. I've highlighted it before in my stories. Is There's really only two ways you can get involved in real estate. Okay. Number
Mhm.
one is if you have money, you can play,
Yeah.
right? You can call me, call any investor, say, listen, I got 100,000. I want to invest in real estate. What can we do? That's easy because I used to do that with all the Intel guys.
Hmm.
They had 100, 200 saved up. I take it and I invest it, flip properties, give them a kickback, this and that. It's private money. Now you have access to that. A lot of people want to do that. The other part is deals, man. Right? Just like you sent out 5 DMs, your deal was sold. Why?
Yeah.
Because there's a big necessity right now. There's a big demand for real estate, right? If you have a deal, like all these new guys out there, if there is anything you should feel confident in, it should be your ability to comp properties. Okay? I'll tell you that 90% of fucking people in this industry do not know how to comp a property.
Yeah. If you, oh, trust me, get on any cash buyers list and you'll find that.
100%. 100%. Right? Even realtors, man, you'll be surprised.
And it's so important.
It's so
You're
important.
buying and selling houses.
It's your product.
You need to know what the value is.
Absolutely.
Like,
That's the product. If you understand the value of a product, you'll come across a lot of realtors that underlist their properties or overlist their properties or whatever. You'll be
yeah.
able to identify it right away and use it to your advantage, right? The reason why I get most of the listings I walk into is because I keep it real with my sellers. You know, I get sellers that want a lot of money and I break that down. I say, okay, hypothetically, let's say we listed at this price. Here are the pros and cons, right? But here are the evidence to support X, Y, and Z, right? And ice machines blowing.
let me make sure this live's still active. Okay, good. It's still going.
All right, we're good. Yeah, so and what was I saying?
Realtors comping.
Yeah,
properties.
realtors. Yeah, so a lot of realtors, man. There's a joke that is an insider joke in the business and retail business. Realtors are dumb. No offense to all my realtors. And lenders lie. Okay, lenders lie because they swear all their clients are pre-approved and they're ready to go until it's closing time and they need their last paychecks because they didn't check their income. That's the norm. So when they say the extra mile is empty,
There's no traffic.
there's no traffic
on
the extra mile. In the real estate space, on the retail side, man, it's so easy for you to excel, to be above and beyond for your clients. There's one simple rule, a truth that I will give everybody. Always, always, always. If you're in any business that requires client relationships, if it's not the standard, do not offer it. If it's not what is a baseline for everybody, do not offer it. Always under promise and over deliver. Meaning, do not call your leads, even in wholesale, and vomit at them the fact that you'll buy the house as is, cash, with no repairs, and you'll babysit their kid for 6 hours for a day, right? Do not offer all your chips right away. And it's the same thing with clients. Under promise and over deliver, because your over delivery is something that you do normal, right? For example, my properties, my luxury listings, I don't show them without me being there personally, right? But I don't promise that unless I can fulfill it for my clients. That's number one. But I also do not offer that, to everybody. I don't offer that to somebody who's listing a $700,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel like that's maybe something that they would care about, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up and I'm going to impress them, right? And it's the same thing with everything else around the transaction and building rapport and trust with clients. Be who you genuinely are. Under promise and over deliver. You'll always be successful because your over delivery is a plus. It's a bonus.
I agree.
So,
and like you have to consult the client as well to know their needs.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That's right.
Fucking listen.
That's killer, dude. That's killer, man. So, well, can you tell everyone too, like basically how they can get in touch with you, what you are offering, right? And what you're looking for, send your deals to you, home buyers, sellers, just kind of let everybody know how they can connect. And
Absolutely. You know, I'm a jack of all trades, man. I do it all. And I'm always looking to learn and grow more and more. But my biggest thing is if somebody out there who's truly looking to grow and looking to learn the business and has something that they bring to the table, um, I'm 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 all ears. I'm always looking to incorporate people into my team and my business, and I'm scaling. I'm scaling both ends of the real estate investment side, from acquisitions to project developments and fix and flips, to retail business. Again, the wholesaling side with the investment side, but retail business. If there's realtors out there that are interested in learning more about the business and getting some A1 game to get their business to the next level, I tell you, I've my biggest strength is my ability to build rapport. And I've always been a closer, in the sense that even if I'm talking to you on the phone, I want to meet you in person and close the deal.
mhm.
Because if I can meet you in person, you're done. That's my goal. I am the open house king. Like, I want I've closed a lot of deals from open houses. And in my team, everybody knew that. I taught everybody how to run open houses because I knew how to structure them, and I knew how to get to win things in my advantage. I have an open house today. Just before this podcast, I had 67 people come to the open house,
Whoa.
and I picked up 4 new clients from that. They had just stumbled into my open house. Right? Most open houses aren't about the houses you're selling, it's about future business. Yes, you're showcasing the property, but you want to get future business from other people. And all these people are looking in the luxury side, and they're looking in the high price. And, I presented myself well, suit and tie, looking good and smelling good. I talk well, I'm confident, and I'm not stuttering. And I think that's super important. And if somebody out there that is struggling with confidence, one of the best tips that I can give you is get your ass in improv. Go do comedy improv. This will break the way you speak, because you're going to be thinking on the spot. Okay, improv is all about doing a skit, but you're doing it live and you don't know what's coming at you. It's freestyle, and it really gets you to build that skill, because that's what sales is all about. It's being adaptable,
Right.
right? Adapt to everybody, adapt to the conversation, matching the tone, doing this, that, all these pros, those things. And over the last 4 years, I've perfected that. I've tried to the best of my ability to not say to not do this, to not chop my language, to think as much as I can before I speak, to under deliver and over, under promise and over deliver, and all these things. That's what molded me to be the best agent that I can be, right? And I'm happily closing, tens and millions of real estate transactions every year, and counting. This past week we put $4 million under contract. So that was a big week.
Come on now.
That was a
4
big
million,
week. Yes, sir.
24 years old.
Yes, sir.
Man, trying to think what I was doing when I was 24. Wasn't anything good.
Oh man.
Eat ramen noodles, but dude, like,
That's it.
hats off. You put in the work, dude. You deserve it.
It's the opportunities, man. That's what I
And you went
speak
through
about.
your shit early, where you said never again.
Yeah.
And not going back.
Right.
I'm going to make the most out of this life, because
Absolutely.
my life I fought for, basically.
Absolutely. And people
Let's
depend
kill it.
on me, man.
Yeah, it ain't about you. It's about your family, your friends, your
That's the most
people
important,
that
man.
count on you,
that
dude.
that and alone, I can sum it up in a sentence, man. It's not the how, it's not the what, it's the why, man. It's the why. If you got a why, nothing can fucking stop you. Everybody that's ever achieved anything big in their life wasn't about them,
Right.
right? It wasn't about them. Never was about them. Because if it's about you and why you want to accomplish something, you're going to hit an obstacle that's bigger than you, and you're going to crumble and fall. But if it's about other people and you know that they depend on you, nothing can fucking stop you, bro. You will always push forward. So it's not the what, it's not the who, it's the how. It's the why. It's the why. It's the why. It's not the what, it's not the who. The how will always come, right? You want to get invested in real estate. You want to learn that. There's courses, free courses on YouTube, right? We live in a time where if I sat on YouTube for 6 months, bro, I can create a skill. I can learn a skill to go and put bread on my table, right? Go learn how to tile, go learn how to paint, go learn how to do this, go learn how to run an Amazon store, how to wholesale real estate, how to flip properties, how to buy properties with zero money down. Shout out Pace Morby,
Right.
fucking king of zero down. It's insane, bro. I don't know how this guy's brain works, but I want to fucking dissect it. It's insane. I love what he does. But again, it's all about networking and getting involved and taking action. Don't get in this analysis paralysis mindset.
Yeah, because there's someone less that knows less than you
So
that's
many.
doing more.
So yeah, absolutely, bro.
You know what I mean?
That's where I was, because I had my head down and I was grinding, closing deals and grinding, but I didn't take a moment to lift my head up and realize that money is important, but most importantly, what's more important than money is time,
Mhm.
right? And Amir really highlighted this for me, Amir Hilali, and we had a call, and he was talking about money versus time, and realizing that, what are you bringing in a month? What's your what's your profit? Well, how much are you making an hour, right? Let's break that down. You make 100 an hour, you make 50 an hour. Okay. You're cold calling 8 hours a day. Is it worth it for you to cold call 8 hours a day? How much does cold calling 8 hours a day cost? It costs me $6.50. So now I have 5 cold callers, right? And to transition to locking up the deals, how much time or how much money does it cost me to hire an acquisition person? Well, I'm making $50, $100 an hour. I'm paying six and a half, meaning I'm giving up this much, but I'm making back this much, right?
Yeah.
The time is more important than the money. Therefore, I'm breaking it down and I'm able to buy my time back. That's the goal, man. The goal is to make a lot of money, not to fucking have a lot of money. The goal is to get as much money so we can buy as much of that time back, to delegate, to help people, to put them in positions to grow their life and grow your business. And then you scale that operation and multiply it as much as you can and find the most effective way to do it. And the only way to find the most effective way to do it is to look at what other motherfuckers are doing and implement that into your business. Because guess what? They've already walked the path. They've already been there, done that. And I'm a firm believer in tying your ship to a bigger boat, or tying your boat to a bigger ship to get you ahead, to accelerate that learning curve. And that's what it's all about, man. Business is hard, right? Business is great. Owning your own business is phenomenal. Being a hustler is amazing, but at some point that hustler has to die. Why? Because that hustler has paid his dues and he's already made enough money to buy that time back. So now let's have
It's
fun.
time to get on a bigger adventure too.
Absolutely.
You got to start back
enjoy that
off
time.
on this new challenge,
New
start
thing,
that process
new
over
process,
learning,
absolutely.
aligning,
Absolutely.
working with people that can bring you to that next level.
Absolutely. And a lot of people lose track of that, because as entrepreneurs, we're go-getters. We want to make money. We want to do this, do that, do this, do that. Oh, this guy's doing Amazon. Let me tap in. This guy's doing wholesale. Let me tap in. This guy's doing drop ship, whatever, doing it flips. Let me, don't spread yourself out too thin, because you're not going to be good at one thing. And that's where I'm at. Like, that's what I did. But I realized that my full potential isn't cold calling 8 hours a day, isn't doing this. My potential isn't being all the pieces in each of my businesses. I am the thinker of the business. So I need to delegate and I need to push these tasks away and think about time. And that's where things really pivoted for me. So now I can scale my operation and continue to grow with the mindset that I'm buying my time back. And that has never been more fulfilling for me than anything. Because now I'm at a point in my life where I can go out, still do what I love, but also have the, the I always say this, man. Any business owners, if you are gone for 2 weeks, is your business still running or is it dead? If it's dead, then you don't own a business. You own a high-paying job.
Self-employed.
You're self-employed. You have a high-paying job. If you're a business owner and you're gone on vacation for 2 weeks and your business is still making money, then you have a successful business. Now it's time to scale that so that you're gone for more than 2 weeks and it's still running. So that you're gone for a year and it's still running. And that's the goal. And that's the mindset that a lot of business people have, a lot of guys at the high level really have. And that's what I pay attention to. The only difference between somebody who's trying to get it and somebody who's successful is their ability to make decisions faster. Execution, right? Zach Ventures, right? Difference between him and every fix and flipper in the valley and people that have a large portfolio is his ability to make decisions quick. The man doesn't fucking bullshit. He doesn't fool around. He's ready to go. He knows the stuff. He knows how to execute and he knows how to get it done because his ability to make decisions is a lot faster than most guys. So it's all about identity, man, right? Think about that identity that you have and just implement those things. I think there's a lot of truth to that, man.
That's killer. Like you hit some crazy deep-rooted gems. Like,
man,
so crazy to think you're 24 and you've learned all this stuff so far, but it goes to show like truth is truth, dude. And I think one thing you've really done is you've been good at just being open to absorbing all the truth that's out there.
Yeah.
And then you've internalized it.
For sure.
And now it's part of you.
For sure. It's that's what it is. It's outside in, right? Outside in because you love yourself. Love yourself. And then it's inside out because of who you are, right? I posted the other day on my Instagram. I said, and I read this in a book. I don't remember which exact book. I think it was Atomic Habits. But it said, you don't get what you want in this world. You get what you are. But who you are is outside in, and then inside out is what you actually deliver. And that's very important, very powerful. Because the people around you, if you're so consumed by money and working, and you're not focused on the loved ones and the family and those things are timeless, man. Or those things are priceless, right? Your time that you spend with your loved ones, your mother, your father, your kids, that's timeless. There's no honor in hustle if that's neglected.
Yeah.
There's no honor in hustle if that's neglected. So, and at the same time, you'll feel a lot more confident and a lot more uplifted if everybody around you is approving of what you're doing and how you're feeling. It's that validation that you get. Yeah, a lot of people say, hey, you don't need validation from other people. That's true. A lot of people, they put you down or limit you because they can't do it. And I understand that, right? But don't forget family. Don't forget your roots. Don't forget where you come from. Don't overstep because you know that you were at the bottom at one point. That's why I always help everybody that comes to me because I know how hard it was. I know what it meant to not know it, to not do it. If I give you information and you take it and run, good for you. If I give you information and you do nothing with it, good for you. You deserve what you are. Right? It's up to you. It's a choice. And the choice is clear. A lot of people, man, see opportunities in front of their faces and they still wouldn't do it.
Yeah, because the opportunity is disguised as a difficult problem.
Yeah. They think about it like Jay-Z talks about his uncle, right? Jay-Z talks about his uncle, how his uncle told him he's never going to sell 1 million records. Because his uncle he meant well. He wasn't trying to put him down.
Yeah.
But Jay-Z was like, I'm going to sell 1 million records. And then in one of his songs, he says, my uncle says I never sell 1 million records. I sold 1 million records 1 million times. But that's because his uncle couldn't do it himself. He didn't believe it. He couldn't even fathom that.
Yeah.
So fucking shock everybody around you and do it.
Fucking love it, dude. So despite all the technical shit.
Oh, man. There was a lot.
Everything, dude.
There was a lot. Buying the podcast equipment today.
Buying it today.
I love it.
Dude, this was epic, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Dude.
I look forward to these upcoming podcasts. We've got some killer.
This was definitely, this is just the highlight of like who we are. I've never told my story to the world, but I want this to be my introduction.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to know who we are and what our story is, because I think it's super important. A lot of people came from where I come from. Sal was an immigrant just like me.
Yeah.
Carlos Reyes was an immigrant just like me, and he tells his story all the time. And I love that because a lot of people resonate with that. Everybody had their journey, everybody had their battle, but grass is greener on the other side. When it rains, the rainbow always shines at the end, and the sun shines, and flowers grow, and you're good. But you just got to be that flower that grows through the concrete, and you just got to surprise everybody. So I appreciate you, bro. I love this. I hope you guys, continue to support this journey with us, and continue to grow with us, and continue to interact with our big events that we have planned. And we'll definitely get some more information out to you guys as things come. We've got some very special guests lined up for us.
Yep.
Rich and I will be diving deep into other people's stories and other people's journeys and what they're doing in the real estate space, or in other industries, and we'll be able to dive in and get some of those gems out and really change some people's lives because of the value that we're going to put out. And that's really the goal here, is to continue to pour into each other and grow.
Yeah. And everyone
Mm.
can connect with us, reiallies.com.
Yep.
Join our Discord group.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's growing.
Huge. The Discord group is blowing up right now, and there's a lot of value. A lot of people are closing good deals from that.
Absolutely.
And we're always available. You can find me on Instagram, Ahmad_Soughar. That's Soughar. All my info is on there. Facebook, same thing. LinkedIn. Hit me up if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to discuss. I'm all ears, and I'm happy to help as much as I can. So
Yeah, 100%. Find me, richwonders.buys.houses at Instagram, acquisitions innovation training at workwithwonders.com.
this guy is phenomenal. I just like to take a moment to highlight Rich, because you guys will get to hear his story, and we'll get to dive into his story a little bit more. But came out the mud, man. Came out the mud, and a father, an amazing father, puts his family first, and that's one thing I really love about Rich is your ability to put yourself, put your ego aside, and really acknowledge other people's hard work and respect other people's grind.
Yeah.
And it really highlights who you are as an individual. And I think that everywhere you go, there's a light that you bring into the room, and you'll just light up the place with your energy, and I love that. So
Thank
respect,
you, brother. That
respect.
means a lot, dude. That's what I aim for.
Absolutely, man. Respect to you and your game, bro. And it's been an amazing journey listening to this guy, the way he does what he does. It's phenomenal. He does it like it's nothing. But little do they know, this man used to sell vacuums, metal fucking vacuums with these, god awful like vacuums that
The bag on
with
it.
the bag.
$2,500.
He had to be there in a
These
house.
unsuspecting people.
Come on, if you can sell vacuums, you can sell anything, man. But it's deeper than that, and the story is incredible. So tune in to the next podcast, guys. We're definitely going to have some really special guests coming on and sharing their stories, and we'll definitely exploit Rich's story and have him hop on the mic some more and tell us more. So
Sweet.